All right, what's going on, guys? Today is April 30th. I'm just going to go over today's price action, the one trade that I took today. Unfortunately, I had the wrong bias coming into today. I was on the wrong side of the markets today. All very avoidable. All something that I could have realized and reviewed after my trading session. Um, but yeah, we ended up taking a loss today, very minor loss. I think I'm down about $196. I ended up cutting my trade short, which, you know, isn't the best decision, but I kind of understood that I was probably on the wrong side of the markets today very early on after I saw the rejection. But I'll get into all of that in a little bit. So let's just begin on the higher time frame, right? Hopefully my replay won't go away. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So higher time frame. I clearly saw that we are trending bullish, right? We're pretty much coming back up to all-time highs. So I was looking for longs originally, looking on the 4-hour time frame, but when you go down to the 1-hour time frame, I missed this very obvious confluence, right? That we are delivering out of this 1-hour BPR. So I probably could expect shorts, minor rejection out of this, 1-hour BPR. And then looking lower, right, we had like a 1-hour unfilled fair value gap. We had 15-minute LR, and then we had London low all the way down here. So there was a lot of draws to the downside here, and the fact that we're accompanied by the fact that we're delivering out of this 1-hour BPR, shorts did look very nice. So originally I knew that okay, I want to see price manipulate lower, and buy lower in my case maybe this 15-minute right here, or if we wanted to come all the way down and take out this LR, then maybe inside of any of these 15-minute gaps right here. I think there was also another hourly gap that I liked. Yeah, so this hourly as well. Um, and yeah, no, this was my main area right here that I wanted to see price reject out of was this hourly BPR to give us longs. But and that ended up coming into place a little bit later on, which I'll go over. But this is something that I was kind of looking at as well was this hourly BPR getting tapped into. So I was I was bullish, but I wanted to see all of this bearish stuff get taken out. This LR, I wanted to see us manipulate into a lower time frame or a higher time frame key level. So that's kind of what I was just looking for off open. This was a small data high. I wasn't too worried about it, to be honest. It didn't make too much of a impact in the market today. Gosh, what am I doing? Yeah, it didn't make too much of an impact in the market today. I wasn't really worried about it. If we took it out at open, that would have been good. But I wasn't looking for just an immediate target to that. So in that case, I saw some people take this 5-minute long. 5-minute short. This was all right if you were just okay with gambling. Market open. I guess this was okay. We go break even here and go for you could go for a pretty big play here with all this LR being taken. So that was the first play, but realistically here, I just wanted to see price manipulate lower, which we did. We manipulated way lower. So at this point, there's nothing that yet, right? I still wanted us to continue to move lower into my key level here, which we did immediately, right? We tapped into this 1-hour BPR. So I'm going to try to do this without making it look ugly. But, right, you can clearly see we're inside of this 1-hour BPR. And that's what leads me to, I think my setup was this right here. I think I took this 2-minute. Yeah, so I ended up taking this right here. I know my screen looks very ugly right now. But if you can see, I took this 2-minute long right here, delivering out of this 1-hour BPR. We were also rejecting out of a 15-minute as well, being this 15-minute gap. And I just kind of wanted to take this for a slight rebound to the range up here. I wanted to take this really just to this 5-minute unfilled. Um, so I ended up getting in right here. Or actually, I did not. I did not get in right there. I wanted to wait for a little bit of a pullback. So I got in like right here or something in the midpoint of this 2-minute gap, like somewhere right here. And I just wanted to target this unfilled 5-minute right here. Stops right here. So it was almost a 1 to 2. Um, And yeah, we kind of chopped around a little bit, and then I ended up stopping my position out a little bit early once this 2 minute started to reject below this gap. So minor loss, and that's actually where one of our first good, really solid trades come in for the day that I in hindsight wasn't paying attention to just because I had my bias on the wrong side today. But this was a pretty A plus setup that we ended up getting right here, right? So delete all these unnecessary drawings. Right, so then we get this. Oh, I deleted the wrong thing. I apologize. Hold on. There we go. Right, so then let me delete this 15-minute unfilled, this gap, get rid of all this LR. All right, so this is where we get a pretty A+ setup here, right? So price gets a little bit of a minor retrace. What do? We don't trend into the 5-minute up here, but ES taps into the 5-minute, creating us a bearish SMT. And then the draw is still lower. Obviously, you know, I was on the wrong side of the market today, but we still had London low below, which honestly, once I got stopped out here and realized price was reversing on me, I was like, okay, we're going to take out London low. That's just something that I should have been paying attention to much earlier today. So yeah, we ended up taking London low. This was, in hindsight, an A+ setup, right? You had the 2-minute here, but really I don't even think you need to wait for the 2-minute on this one. This one could, you know, you could pre-fire this 1-minute right here. Great displacement. I like the close. SMT already delivering from a 5-minute on ES. We're beginning the move to the downside. And then just target London low, and this would have been an incredible trade, right? You just go break even at this internal low. This is a pretty A+ setup. I think this is A+ for sure. Minor retracement could have been kind of scary, you know, but it ended up, you know, playing out to full TP here. So as long as you just held through all of this, that would have been totally fine. So very solid trade there, A+ for sure. 5-minute rejection on ES. We got the SMT at the high. We're still trending lower. We have a clear draw on liquidity below. Great break-even point. 1-minute inversion. Great close. So all in all, this was a fantastic trade. Probably most likely, in my opinion, trade of the day. I think for sure. And then moving forward a little bit more, we end up creating all of this low resistance liquidity, right? So from this high, this is just perfect low resistance liquidity. So now you can, and what do? We swept London low. So now, you know, you've got all your confluences aligning here. It looks like it's probably time for a reversal. There's not really any like higher time frame delivery here, but I guess if you look on the 5, it's technically a BPR because this was a, you know, giant gap right here. So but at this point, you know, longs is probably the play here. We've got a lot of space to move forward, move higher. We're still at all-time highs. Want to trend up, continue to go higher. We swept out London low, and yeah, that's about it. It's pretty much time to move higher. So at this point, I was looking for longs, and then I just, you know, I failed to execute. So another trade I want to mention as well is this 5-minute long right here. So this 5-minute long, it looks okay mechanically, right? You got the higher time frame delivery, you get the great inversion, but we're in a market maker model, right? So I don't really want to, I'll draw it out. Can't remember. Right, so market maker model right here. So now what are we going to do? We're going to come down, and we need to complete the sell-off, right? And this is our sell side right here. That's ugly, but you get what I'm saying, right? We're very close to sell side. There's no point into look for longs at this point yet because we're so close to completing the market maker model, right? So that 5-minute long just wasn't great, even though it looked good mechanically, right? But at this point right here, trade of the day happened, but we are creating all this low resistance liquidity, and we have an unfilled 15-minute gap still at this SMT right here. So we also had a 1-hour BPR, which I really liked to see what price did when we got up there. I knew we were going to eventually come up higher, so wanted to see what price would have done up there. But again, let's just continue to move forward. I want to see all this low resistance liquidity get taken out. At first, this trade really didn't look bad. I actually did kind of like this long right here. It just would have been a break even, but I did kind of like this long. And it just would have been a little bit too early to get in for the displacement here. But again, you could have targeted the slow resistance liquidity run and then at this 15-minute right here. So I did like this for sure. But it just would have been a break-even trade, right? So coming back lower, we get the sweep here. No SMTs or anything. But this trade I liked as well. So we ended up getting a 30-second in here, which looked great. That would have been a good 30-second. But if you wanted a little bit more conviction, I liked the idea of waiting for this 1-minute obvious gap to get inversed. And once it does, boom, inversed, you'll go break even. We quickly flush through break even, and then we're just looking for all this low resistance liquidity to get taken out, right? And then tap back into this 15-minute unfilled fair value gap. Or you could have targeted EQ of the range. Either way, either of them played out. You honestly could have held this even higher up to say that, you know, this 1-hour BPR right here. So either way, all of it would have played out. Let's see when we get inside this 1-hour BPR right there. So either way, all of it would have played out. This would have been a 1 to 3. That would have been a great trade, but ideally, probably just hold for all this low resistance liquidity to get taken out, and then inside this 15-minute, Even something, just like this, or probably 1 to 2 at the bare minimum here, just with the draw and liquidity, right? So either way, both of these setups were incredible. A plus setups for sure. This one maybe an A. Um, but yeah, all in all, great setups there. At this point, it's late in the day. I was just sitting on the charts though. I wanted to see kind of how we reacted to this 1 hour BPR. We actually got a very, very nice setup out of this 1 hour BPR. So you can clearly see right here that this kind of acts as, this is kind of like a PO3 model, right? So this clearly acts as our accumulation, right? So we're in accumulation phase right here. What do? We end up manipulating to the upside, delivering out of this 1 hour BPR. And the only thing that was not great about this trade, if we got a bigger gap, this would have been A plus for sure. But you just have the tiniest 1 minute for value gap, right? So, but this was a great PO3 trade. Take this, stops above this high at this 1 hour BPR, target this the bottom of the accumulation, and boom, perfect. So PO3 trade right there. This was a fantastic trade as well. Accumulation, manipulation. Now we begin the distribution to the downside. So that was also a great trade. So 3 incredible setups today, to be honest. My bias was just on the wrong side, and yeah, hesitation kind of killed me today, right? So I should have just something I'm continuing to work on each and every day, right? Getting better at executing. So should have executed. This one, my bias was on the wrong side today. Which was understandable. I'm not perfect every day, but this really was a pretty clear bias to have today for sure. So down to this London low. So just something I got to realize and work on. But then this trade, obviously, with the low resistance liquidity, this was obvious. And I was waiting for this 1 minute to get inversed. I just, I think that this chop kind of just scared me a little bit. But, I don't know. Chop kind of scared me a little bit in live time. But this was great. I mean, I knew this low resistance liquidity was going to get run. And I knew that we wanted to go up into this unfilled 15 minute up here. So, in reality, definitely should have executed here. And this was a little bit more of an advanced model. I don't trade PO3 too much, but it was kind of just so obvious, right? And I saw this in real time, and I thought this was great. The gap was a little bit small for me. The gap is literally like less than 2 points. So the gap was a little bit small for me, but either way, still an incredible setup that ended up playing out great for about a 1 to 3 R. So some great setups today. A lot of opportunities to catch a bunch of points, right? 100-point trade. What is this? 121-point trade, 100-point trade, 60-point trade. So all in all, about almost 300 points today. That were pretty textbook setups, right, to be able to catch. So I really liked all of these setups, to be honest. Everything was great here. Very, very textbook day in hindsight. But, just had the bias on the wrong side today, and just wasn't able to execute very, very, very well today. So that's pretty much it, though. Hopefully you guys made money today. Hope you guys ended green. I'm just going to continue to work, continue to get better every day, continue to show up, and time will do its thing. So just continuing to, do my best. So, yeah, hopefully you guys ended up green today, though. If not, hopefully you managed your risk. This was a incredibly easy day in hindsight, but, live markets are a whole different thing than hindsight. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, though. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I'll be back later for another backtesting session. And, of course, tomorrow, Friday, hopefully try to end off the week green. Yeah, just be back for another trading day. So, I'll see you guys later.